In this video, further upgrade works on my Citroen Berlingo. Obviously, when you first get a vehicle, the priority should be to service it and make sure it's good mechanically. So I'm going to be fitting some new stereo items. I've purchased £100 worth of stuff on Amazon, including this 30 quid head unit, which looks particularly cheap and nasty, i.e. geek. Okay, whatever, maybe I can change that to wiper geek. And we've got two sets of tweeters, two for the dash, it currently has none, and some for the rear speakers there, and then bigger speakers that I hope are going to fit the doors. So let's go and see what we've got at the moment. So we have some big speakers in here. I think they're blowing a bit, they don't sound great. There are no tweeters here at all at the moment. If I can just pull that trim up. Oh, there we go. Nothing, but there is some wiring just sitting there, so hopefully we can plug that in. And in the rear you've got those boxes, one of which actually has a light that works in it, so they've got tiny little tweeters in them as well. Further upgrades may occur, but the main one, other than speakers, is head unit, because I think this head unit is responsible for some particularly horrible noise. And while I do actually have some cassettes, they're all very old and a bit tired anyway. There are better ways to do music in a vehicle, and I could also have a hands-free, all that sort of good stuff with this head unit. So I think it could be a very useful upgrade for what is proving to be a very useful vehicle. Just for info, we're up to probably about 240 miles covered in the new Steed since we bought it on Thursday. Today's Monday, and yeah, it's just proving perfect, apart from the stereo, which sounds horrific. It's really tinny, really nasty. I can't really hope to demonstrate that, because I'll either get hit for copyright or it just won't sound as terrible through this camera as it actually does in real life. But yeah, it follows on from other improvement works. We've replaced that mirror, we've got a rear wiper now, also proving very, very useful. There's still a fair bit to do. Any new purchase, there's always stuff to go through and sort out. I've only just discovered that this mirror, not my Sierra's, actually has a crack in the glass. So if I'd noticed that before we went to Tanagoro's car dismantlers last week, I could have got a replacement mirror glass as well. And we've also got the question of wheels. The tyres, we got Joy Roads on the front, which I'm not at all confident in. And these are Sagittars on the back, and this one's starting to crack up. I don't like the look of it at all. Yeah, it's like, well, if I'm replacing wheels, or replacing tyres rather, do I replace wheels as well? Should I have alloys? Alloys would probably look better, although I quite like the van look of the silver steelies with the hubcaps. So there's much pondering to do. Also need to give the interior a really good clean. The seat is quite grubby, but the material on it is excellent. So yeah, there's stuff to be done. But I think I'm going to start with speakers. May not get a head unit done in this video. Let's see how we go with speakers just to get started. The doors now open. This one was proving problematic at first, but now seems to be operating. So let's start with the tweeters in the back, because I know they are making a hideous buzzing noise, especially the one over there. And the children, they like their music. They like a wide range of music. I can never guess what they're going to sing along to next. We need to sort the tunes out. So yeah, we had our first family run out in this vehicle yesterday. We went to Swansea, went to the Transport Museum there for their AEC Regent Running Day. It was the anniversary of Regent's stopping running in Swansea. They were running, these half cab buses were running all the way through until 1982. Here is a little bit of footage. It's the only thing I shot yesterday of a single decker version that was built to go under low bridges. I'm not sure why they didn't use a single decker chassis. They used the beefier double deck chassis, perhaps because the operators were already familiar with those buses. But yeah, kids absolutely love the Berlingo. No travel sickness in the Berlingo, which is interesting. I don't know if it's because it's more light and airy. Oh gosh, these really are tiny little speakers. And held in with more talks. And yeah, it was really good. They seem to find it comfortable. I find it comfortable. And yeah, a happy time was had. So that's good, because that's exactly what we bought this vehicle for, is to be a sort of default daily distance vehicle. And in 200 miles she's used about a third of a tank of fuel, which is some contrast to a certain Ford Fairmont, that's for sure. Right, there we go. Oh, these are dinky little things. Just pull the wires out, a little pull plug there. There we go. Yeah, there's no weight to that at all. So let's see how these JVC items compare. I didn't buy them for any particular recommendation. I've had good experiences with JVC speakers before. It was more that they were cheap. So yeah, £100 got me a head unit and a full set of 6 speakers. So we'll see if it makes any difference at all. Well, there is our new speaker. And yeah, already feels heavier. The magnet's about the same size. And does it come with any wiring? Because we're going to have to adapt, I think. Yeah, there's a little wiring loom here. Let's get that open. Sorry, I'm slightly backlit here, aren't I? I should have got a nice work light or something. Okay, so those are the wires that go onto the speaker itself. So yeah, what am I going to do about those? I don't think I've got anything that's going to fit those. I don't really want to cut the wires. Wires like that are quite useful. Oh, my light stopped working. That's sad times. Oh no, it's still working. I think the switch is still a bit iffy. So yeah. Well, this has been the Hubnut budget channel. What I've actually done is remove the plastic clip that connects to the factory speakers, which gave access to these. I haven't got the right wires to connect to those, so I've just bare wired these connectors with some very fancy pliers I didn't even know I had, and stuffed them in. And I'm now going to put a bit of tape on those for a bit of security, and we'll call that job jobbed. Well, here's a fun discovery. I've got Prodigy playing in the background. We don't seem to have any life either side. I thought the kids had said their speakers were working in the back, but I've got absolute deadness there, deadness there. I've turned up the fader to the rear speakers on the stereo, so perhaps that radio has already lost some channels, and that's why the sound is quite so terrible. Interesting. Well, there we go. I've got all the front speakers in place. We've now got tweeters in the dash. All the wiring was there, and I keep forgetting on these, you don't lever the plastic off, you just turn it one way or the other, and then you can pull the covers off. So here's my I've got Kenwoods in here at the front. Nice big chunky Kenwoods. They seem to be responding better already, so yeah, hopefully things will sound better on the move. I've been enjoying listening to Prodigy's music for the Jilted Generation, and yeah, I forgot just how good that album is, but terrible hissing because it's on cassette, of course, a really old cassette as well, one I probably recorded myself in the late 1990s. So I'm going to go ahead with the stereo removal, so let's go and see if we can do that. I do love cassettes. There's something I like about them. They seem very well suited to cars in a way, but there's some weird stuff going on as well with this head unit. When you change the balance, it only goes down to one channel, so I suspect there is some historic failings on this head unit anyway. So let's see if we can get the things to engage. There we go. Out comes the old head unit. Now we're going to have some fun and games here with wiring as well, I suspect, because there's big old multi-plugs on the back of here. I don't know if they're going to match our new head unit or not. I suspect these aren't the ISO fixings. There we go. Beautiful. So let's get our new, much smaller unit out, because oh, we've got a remote control. Oh, we have got some wiring. It looks fairly similar. This might work actually. Yeah, look at this dinky little unit. because it's got no CD, it's got no cassette, it doesn't need any depth. But shall we see if that standard fits, because that will save an awful lot of time. No, life isn't rarely as easy as you hope it would be. The wiring for that radio speaker's different to the new one, so I do need either an adapter or to start cutting and chopping wires, none of which I'm inclined to do today, so we'll have to park this one for now. It is now Thursday, the other end of the week, but finally we've had some goodies arrive. We've got some wiper blades which look a bit shorter than these ones. I think these are actually oversized, and more importantly we've got this adapter, or these adapter cables, which should allow us to fit the new stereo. Especially important because in a couple of days we've got to take the kids off to their dads, so it'll be road trip time in the Berlingo. We are going to need tunes or they are going to absolutely lose their shizzle, is I believe what the cool kids say. Without further ado, let's dig in. And we'll get onto wiper blades in a minute. I'm not looking forward to it. These ones have been here so long, they're very, very happy there. I think they're going to be a bit of a pain to get off, but we'll get into the van and we'll start sorting the stereo. I am actually wondering whether it doesn't actually make sense to put the stereo here instead, because I can take that tray out, and then we've got a space which is a standard DIN slot, and then I can keep the look, the original factory fit radio, but I can have a hidden, more modern stereo. I read some of the views. Apparently the clock on it is very bright and can't be dimmed, so it's a bit annoying, but if it's there and the light is annoying me, I can just cover it up. So I think that might not be a bad plan, you know, but we'll still have to get this one out to access the wiring. Then I'm sure we can just feed the wiring down to this level, so I think I'm going to do that. It's not about hiding my highly expensive 30 quid Amazon radio behind the flap so no one steals it, because I think even fees would think twice about that one. But yeah, there are practical reasons for putting the stereo there instead, and I think we'll go for that option. That seems quite appealing. So that's quite easy, just 4 little Torx screws, and then this whole unit comes out very much like a Citroen BX. And you can see there's just some press clips and a lot of detritus holding this tray in place, so I should just be able to squeeze those. Out comes the tray. Now we can fit the stereo to this bit. Let's have a feel at the back. Yeah, I'm sure I can find a way to get the wires down. Right, next we've got to get the stereo out, so I've got my handy prongs to get the head unit out. I did try using the cassette. In fact, I'll just pop my cassette out. I've got the Millennium 2 album in there at the moment, but sadly it's terrible quality and the volume is really low on the tape. It probably just needs a head cleaner, to be fair. But the net result is you pop the cassette out, go back to radio and blow your ears out. So there we go. Let's give this a tug out one last time. We've got an aerial. I haven't got the aerial adapter yet. I need an adapter to allow me to use that on this car, and we've got to ping the wires out. There we go. So that's disconnected. We shall pop that back into the dashboard just as a dummy, and I can see the wiring. Actually, it comes all the way up here on the inside of the column. So now I'm going to try and find my way. There it is. I think that's the aerial. I'll pull that through. I'll just have to pop the radio out again to get the actual radio, but around here radio reception is so terrible, I'm sure it will be no great loss. And I find the wiring looms and I can feed them down the back here, and through they come. There we go. So fitting the new radio, this should all be nice and simple now. It's just a case of fitting this cage to this box. It brings back so many memories of fitting stereos to my first BX back in 1998. The car I traded in for Myrtle de Matiz all that time ago. Which was a stupid thing to do because I paid over £1,000 for that BX. It was a really nice example. 1.9 non-turbo diesel TGD. It had a lot of miles, but it had been really well looked after. It was a lovely car. And I think I got 600 quid for it, trading it in. Absolute madness. And now we sort of bend in the tabs You can see the tabs to hold this cage in place, and I'm going to use this screwdriver to do that. Bend them in. I fitted a lovely Goodman. I had a Goodman's stereo. I think I'd fitted to my first 2CV, and it actually had really good sound. And for some reason, I fitted an awful Sony. I bought a Sony, and the bass response was terrible. And I took that out of the BX, put my Goodman's in it, and then traded it in. And then Myrtle came with a horrible Sony head unit with terrible bass. So well done me. I was too busy talking to camera there. I'm doing a terrible job. But you know, I like talking to you folks. It's like you're almost here. Just you're very quiet, so I have to read your comments. But nonetheless, I appreciate them an awful lot. Channel members and patrons, I appreciate an awful lot as well. But even if you can't afford that at the moment, we know it's difficult times, just subscribing costs no pounds at all. Commenting, liking, sharing with your friends, it's all good, to be honest. There's lots of plastic on this head unit. I hope it's going to be okay. And we slot that in, and that should lock. It's got all the way through. That's impressive. Why has that happened? I'm going to describe that as unhelpful. Proof once again that there's nothing you can't cure with a strip of gaffer tape. That should hold the stereo in place and stop it pinging into the dashboard, hopefully. Hopefully it can cope with fairly warm temperatures. We shall find out, I guess. We shall now go about plugging this in. Speakers are the A slot, I think, on this one. I need these. And we know the purples and greens are our speakers, so that goes on that one, he says, hopefully. Here, there we go. And then that's power. Much simplified on this compared to the car itself, which has all manner of things. And that goes on there. There we go. And that means we should now be able to connect up the power and the speakers. There we go. Everything connected up. Shall we see if it works? It won't work because the ignition's not on. I have to keep taking the key out because otherwise it beeps at you in a most irritating manner. Battery light's on, so we're in the auxiliary position. I've got the time on here. Hi! And no radio station, unsurprisingly. So I'm going to try and pair up with my phone. There we go. Kaleidoscope orchestra will do nicely. And we've still got absolutely nothing. Why is that? I think this counts as officially disappointing. Okay, this is getting weird. If I connect any pair of those to any pair of those directly with a bit of wire, we get noise. And when I first connected that, we got a bit of noise. In fact, there we go. But when I click it home, we seem to get nothing. So very irritating. Sod it, I'm running out of time. Insulation tape, chocolate blocks, the old household connectors, and I'm going in. I'm going to start by chopping this one, which I believe is the rears. Chop. And I believe, I don't know, let's check the wiring diagram. It would be nice to actually connect this up correctly. Right, green should be rear left. So I'm just going to chop those and those, and we'll work out which one's which. Right, in theory, connecting these wires will get us some music. That's weird. If I connect both wires up, I don't get anything. If I connect one wire up, we get music in the back. Okay. I'm going to snip the other two then, and maybe it's that one's a positive and one's a plus, and they go over the other side of the plug, which would be why this isn't working. Not a sausage there. Try that with that one. Nothing. Okay. Try that one. This is very, very confusing, but that's a connection. That seems to work, so I think I'm going to make that. Does that work? Yeah. Oh yeah. I think we got sounds. I've got one connection not made. If I make that connection, all the sound stops. So that's clearly shorting out somewhere. That's not a good thing at all. In fact, that's actually stopped it this time. Oh dear. This really is very odd indeed. Got it working again. This is Kaleidoscope Orchestra, which I'll turn down before I get copyright claimed. But yeah, this is very odd. No idea what's going on. I'm just going to see how it goes. But yeah, we have electronic tunes. Let's get this fitted properly. There we go. I'm currently streaming Radio 1 Extra to my head unit. That seems to be working. There's one slight issue. I had to turn the ignition off and it wiped the memory. So I'm going to have to work on the power feeds. I might need to do a permanent live because that's not ideal. I think that's covered in the little user manual I got with my phone. Every time I start the car, it has to be manually started up. In this case, it is because that the red and yellow wires of the radio are connected in reverse. Just switch these two wires and it will be all right. Okay. Oh, sorry, let's have a look at it now. We might as well try and do this properly. Right, let's see where we are now. Ignition on, or accessory on. There's the time. Turn it on. Hi. Yeah, you're not going to get any radio. Let's go to Bluetooth. There we go. A little, yeah, little cool. So then we got the radio again. I'm going to, oh no, I can't save that, can I? But I can if I crank the bass all the way up. And the treble. Okay. So if we turn that off again. And then turn it on, hopefully it now has a memory. Yes, it's remembered we're at a minute. Bluetooth. There we go then. So we've cured that. The wiring is still very confusing, nonetheless it appears to work. So shove the wiring back there. Get this installed again. There we go. And we'll bang the screws in and get this connected, and then we can say that's done. I've also changed the wiper blades successfully. So that's good times. The old ones were rusty, which is never ideal, I find. There we go. Feels like progress. I think the children will be very happy. We can stream their favourite noise. I shouldn't complain really. Those kids have an amazing sense of music. It's amazing when 70s and 80s stuff comes on and they start singing. That's lovely. But yeah, there we go. We got sounds. I'm really pleased about that. Well, there we go. It shouldn't work, but somehow it does work. We've got the stereo. I can take my protective strip of plastic off the front of it now, can't I? It's officially installed. Our shiny new stereo with the really bright clock on it. So I've got the ignition on at the moment. Drop back to accessory mode, and that's still there. It's charging my phone. It's got a charge cable. It's got USB input, memory card, Bluetooth. Yeah, should be good. And once we get the aerial adapter, it'll have an aerial as well. So I think we can consider that good times. That's all come off because the windscreen wipers stopped working for a time. I'm not sure what that was all about, but they're happy now. This is just modern enough to get confusing. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. And yeah, we'll see how this stereo performs out on the road in another video. But yeah, I shall see you again. Farewell. Another Hubnut fiasco.